Sometimes you want some dessert for no other reason than you just want some dessert, even if it's in the middle of the day. And that's what these blueberry pie bars are. They are dairy free and have been adapted from Sally's baking addiction. And on that note, let's get into how to make it. We start by making sure our pan is prepped, and we're going to line that pan with parchment paper. And I did a fancy way of cutting out this parchment paper. It took way too long, but got the job done. Next, we're gonna get our crust into the baking pan. And the thing with the crust is it's not like your typical pie crust, it's more like a crumble. So it's made of oats, flour, sugar, and spices, and butter, dairy free butter. This is the dairy free element that was used in adapting this recipe. And once you get that in, then you're going to press it out. Now, I tried to do the glass method, but I completely forgot the step where you needed to have a piece of parchment paper between the crumble and the glass, and so I abandoned the glass and ended up just using the spatula. I also ended up using my hand as well to press some parts when I realized that they were thinning out. So you want to make sure you press the crust into the pan, get as much of the crust into the pan as possible. In fact, you want 2/3 of the crumble mixture into the pan. You're going to use the remaining third for the top, the crust on top of the pie bars. So we want to get as much of this crumble into the pan, pressing it down, making sure you get into those corners as well, because we want to minimize any leakage that might happen from the filling. Granted, your filling should not be super watery, but we want to minimize that leakage as much as possible. And once you've pressed as much as you can press it into your pan, then we are going to get it into the oven and pre-bake it for about, say, 10 minutes. And then we can work on the filling. Now, the filling is really just few ingredients. We have our blueberries here. We're going to get those into the pan, and then we're going to add sugar, which is an important ingredient as well for that sweetness. Interestingly enough, this is not super sweet, so use the amount of sugar that the recipe calls for. And then we're going to add cornstarch, which is necessary for creating thickness in this filling, because remember, this is similar to pie. It is not just it is not a compote, it is a pie filling. So once we've got that cornstarch in and our lemon juice, then we're going to mix everything together, and we're mixing gently because we're not trying to crush the blueberries. We just want to make sure we coat every single one in the cornstarch and sugar as much as possible, so that we have a nice thick, not super runny filling. So go ahead and mix this. Normally this would be done on a stove, on a portable stove, but hey, you can do this and then get on the stove. This is me improvising because we're taking this video. So we get that on the stove, and once we've gotten it on the stove such that it has been fully combined, you're gonna end up with a little bit of liquid. The blueberries are not super mashed up. They're still very much whole, and we want that. Then we add our lime or lemon zest and incorporate the lemon zest, because that hint of lemon with the blueberry and the sweetness of the sugar, it creates a beautiful balance that makes this dessert not super heavy, not overly sweet. And once we get that filling combined, done, we take our crust out of the oven, and now we can get our filling into the pan. You're just gonna pour all of the filling in. I did it step by step here, spoonful by spoonful, because I also wanted to make sure that I was using the appropriate amount, or getting the appropriate amount into the pan. Sometimes when with recipes, the amount that's created is a little more than I might want. But in this instance, I ended up using every single bit of this filling. It fit perfectly with the pan and with according to the recipe instructions. So you know for sure that recipe execution here is 100%, because the outcome, meaning the ingredients that were listed, were used exactly how they were intended to be used. So once you get all of your filling into your pan, we then go ahead and get our crumble topping ready. Now this is where that remaining crumble or crust comes in play, and we're going to add some dry oatmeal, rolled oats, to this crumble and just incorporate it with your hands just to get that crumbly type texture. Again, this is not a pie crust. It's similar to pie, but this crumble topping makes it not pie. So with the crumble set, then you go ahead and just sprinkle that in. Cover up as much space, get as much coverage as you can on the pie or over the filling, because it makes for a great dessert. It makes for, texture wise, that balance of crumble on top, filling in the middle, and a well baked crust on the bottom. Makes for a nice balance in texture. So be sure to cover up as much as you can with the crumble. And once you get all of that crumble on top, then we are going to go ahead and you can use the spatula or the spoon to press it down, or you can use your hand to press it down. So we have a little more, it's a little more compact. And once we have all of that done, then you go ahead and pop it in the oven. And this is how we make the blueberry pie bars from Sally's Baking Addiction. I guarantee you, once you make this, you will probably make it a lot of time. It's not just dessert, it can also be part of like a breakfast treat. So this is what the baked finished product looks like. Now I chose to use parchment paper. You don't have to use parchment paper, but parchment paper enables you to lift it out of the pan easier. So there we have our blueberry pie bars, dairy-free blueberry pie bars. So the next time you're in the mood for some dessert, be it in the middle of the day or first thing in the morning, make yourself some blueberry pie bars. I guarantee you will enjoy them as much as I did.